Agenda item number 5, discussion by council or other, by vote or other action on a presentation regarding the 5K run walk. And this is being discussed by the North Smithfield Athletic Association. I believe Mr. Burton is here this evening to talk about this. Welcome.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. My name is Tony Burton. I live at 8 Country Way, and I am here tonight to represent the North Smithfield Athletic Association as Vice President. And with me is our Treasurer, Larry Drapo. We'd just like to the opportunity to address the upcoming Northland 5K, which will be held May 31st, Saturday morning, May 31st. 9 o'clock in the morning. We foresee that the race will probably run from 9 to approximately 10 o'clock. And we, as we have done, this is the 3rd year we run the 5K now. And as we have done in prior years, we will have to be supported by local police and fire in their services, and as well be closing roads down in the area around North Smithfield High School, from Greenville Road, Grange Road, and Providence Pike, and the adjoining areas for approximately half an hour at a stretch. And the reason we really wanted to discuss this further is we're going to do things a little bit differently this year. We're going to make a few more notifications ahead of time, and what we're going to propose to do is first off, get the names and addresses of all those in the area of the road closures and let them know. We plan on the 2nd week of May to do a mailing, postcard to each address in the area that will be affected, and let them know that the area roads will be shut down from approximately 8:50 to half an hour as you go through the stretch, as the race goes through the area. As well, I'll be sending out an email to distribution a list I have. I'll ask our administrator if she would send out a notification through her channel to do the same. We're working on putting signs up the 2nd week of May. You'll also see signs up around the route, letting residents know that there will be a short closure on that day. And as well, another representative, Paul Shatraw, is working on getting some electronic signage to also place in the vicinity to let residents know that the roads will be closed for a short area of time. Larry, do you have anything else?
The only other thing we'll be doing over the next few weeks is getting out the banners that will also communicate to residents that the race will be taking place on the 31st.
Stuart, you said about the sending out the mailing. Could you just confirm again the time that the dates you were aiming to have the mailing go out?
Yep, the mailing's going to go out the 2nd week of May, which will give them approximately 3 weeks' notice.
And I believe that I was in touch with Mr. Nangle, and I don't think that he said that it didn't require a permit of any kind. Is that your understanding as well? Okay.
The last 2 years, we've had one resident in particular who had a concern about the road closure, and we understand that. So we've looked at that concern, and we've concluded that they do. We should be giving them greater notification, and that's exactly what we're working on doing.
Okay. Does anybody have any questions from the council? Any questions from you?
So that was all taken care of? These people agreed to it and everything?
Mr. Nagel has been in discussion with them. I don't know that they're going to agree with Tom.
Oh, okay, I just asked.
Yeah.
It'd be nice if you said yeah.
Yeah, I wish I could say yeah, but I don't know. Well, we're trying to be proactive. We're trying to give them every opportunity to understand that it's going to be a really short period of time. It's a fundraiser for athletics in town. It's, in my opinion, an inconvenience, but a very short one. And we'll wrap it up as rapidly as we can, move people through the course.
And how long does it last?
You know what? Providence Pike might see a closure for up to an hour. All other areas maybe half an hour. Because as soon as people are the last of the, and we have walkers too, as soon as they're through their area of the course, they open the road up again. So it's a really short period of time.
Thank you. Any other questions? I don't think there's any need to take any action.
Okay.
I appreciate your coming to inform us.
And I appreciate you having us here. And what I will do also, I didn't get the opportunity to do so yet, but I'll follow up to all the council members and the administrator with an email to put down all these points, and so you know exactly what the timeline is.
Okay. Great, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Moving on, we're going to item number 6, the continuation of public hearing on proposed charter amendments. It's also listed for discussion by council, vote, or other action on proposals. And we have in our packets a compilation of all of the proposals that we've been discussing right along, so I'd like to just go through them. And the order that I have them in, at least reading off the printer, is the first one I have is Article 2, elections, and it's for a recall provision. And I believe that we've discussed this one. I don't recall that there were any proposed amendments to this in the 2 times, at least it's been discussed. Unless there's any questions, I would move to, well, actually, we'd have to close the public hearing first, but before we close the public hearing, I think we want to, maybe ask, rather than doing it one by one, ask if there is anybody that would like to speak regarding any of the proposed charter amendments. They've been on the town website on the front page, and if there's anything that somebody would like to say before we close the public hearing and then get into the individual ones. Mr. Clifford.
I wanted to speak to the change regarding the composition of the school committee. Was that the first part of the
Could you just give us a second to find that, when was it, article, you know the article?
Article 9.
Article 9?
I'm sorry, 14.
Okay. Does everybody have it? Okay.
I'd like to suggest an alternative. I heard a lot of opposition to the idea of a full school committee being appointed. That was quite clear that that's not the wishes of the many members of the community, although it is in place in several other towns. And I think if we take away the right to vote for 5 people, that they'd be offended by that. And the proposal that's on the table, I guess, allows 3 to be elected and 2 appointed. I'd like to propose a different model that suggests that there'd be a 7-member school committee, 5 elected by the electorate, so nobody loses their right to vote, stays the same, and 2 appointed, 1 by the administrator and 1 person appointed by the town council. It keeps an odd number of members, so you won't be faced with a tie situation. You can't just increase it by 1, you have to increase it by at least 2 to keep the number odd. And I think that the goal here is to keep some lines of communication open. And at least if you have 2 people, 1 representing the council and 1 representing the administrator on the school committee, when you call for a meeting, you should hopefully at least have 2 people in attendance. And hopefully they'll persuade the others to attend as well. But I think it just sets up a better chain of communication between the boards. And I think that you need people on the school committee to be mindful of the needs of the town as well, not just the school. We need to look at the thing as a global issue, not just this particular department and the other department.
Okay, so 5 elected, 2 appointed is your recommendation.
Right, and I think all you have to do to change the language in the current charter is to just strike the word 5 and insert 7, and then have it read 7 members, comma, 5 of whom shall be elected at large, and then continue the charter as it's written, and then add 2 sentences at the bottom that just say 2 members shall be appointed to serve 2-year terms. 1 appointment shall be selected by the town administrator, and the second appointee shall be selected by a majority vote of the town council. If the appointed member selected by the town administrator resigns, the town administrator shall appoint a replacement to serve the balance of the term. If the appointed member selected by the town council resigns, the town council shall appoint a replacement to serve the balance of that term.
That language that you just read isn't part of our, it wasn't something that was previously contemplated. I mean, I hear the concept you're saying, but the language, is that all new language, or?
I just took the current language of that section of the charter and changed the word 5 to 7
Yeah,
and put in a comma and added 5 of whom will be elected. So I can give you a copy of this, I didn't know if I could give it out.
that'd be fine, I'd like to just have it to
I
follow.
mean, obviously, it needs to be.
Were there any other amendments that you wanted to speak on?
Nope, that was the only one.
Is there anybody else who would like to speak on any of the proposed charter amendments?
I have I'd just like to add one last comment. I would hope that you at least allow this proposal, and all proposals actually, to go before the voters, so that the voters can make the decision. It's very disappointing at times when certain issues are brought forward and the decision is made by the council, the 5-member council, instead of letting the voters of the town.
It's
make
going to
the
be,
decision.
it's got to go to the voters, that's what the way.
Yeah, but I thought you were going to decide which of these proposals would go forward.
Well, the council will decide what to put before that. We're gonna do that with every amendment here. We're gonna put something before the voters and let them decide. If they don't like it, then they vote it down. But I don't think we're talking about giving the voters a chance where you can do 5, or you can do 7, I don't think we're talking about that.
No, I wasn't suggesting that. I didn't, I didn't understand that you were definitely putting proposals on the ballot for November for all of the charter proposals. that
How else
were
would they get
discussed.
adopted? They would have to be
Well,
approved.
no, I know that, but I thought the council was gonna make a decision, this one, this one, and this one, we are gonna put on the ballot, the other two, we're not putting on the ballot.
Well, we are gonna do that. Okay.
Mr. Clifton, I like this. Thank you.
I think it meets everybody's needs.
I think it does. And you know what else? It provides, hopefully more participation in meetings. You know, sometimes somebody can't make it because they have a work commitment. I think it has a lot of merit. Thank you.
There's also no problem instituting that immediately upon passage. You don't have to worry about the terms expiring of the other 3 people who are, 3 are gonna get elected and then 2 are appointed. How's that gonna work transitioning? This is clean.
Yeah, thank you.
Hey, Robert Boucher, 32 Woonsocket Hill Road, North Smithfield. The item for the school committee, from what I've seen, my preference would be a fully appointed school board by the town administrator, ratified by the council. If you want to go an extra 2 people, 2 other appointees to stretch it to 7, that's fine. However, due to the lack of transparency and accountability from the school committee, lack of the school committee basically sanctioning the superintendent of schools for violating state law, concerning the deficit or supposed deficit, who knows? But the fact is that the taxpayers are about the end of their ropes. Whatever financial gains we've gained from Dowling Village and some of the other developments in town is that the school department is sucking the lifeblood out of us. And enough is enough. If you could, I've heard people say, well, gee, the school committee does this, the school committee does that, we can't control them. Well, yes, you can, by going through the appointed school board. 5 people, or 7, I don't care. But the fact is that there has to be accountability and transparency involved. It's, right now you have basically the tail wagging the dog, not vice versa, the dog wagging the tail. The fiscal situation in North Smithfield is that every time the state's in dire straits, don't be surprised to see more budget cuts from the states filtering down to the local cities and towns. And I just hope and pray that due diligence will be involved and that they'll be able to control the spending policy. And what I would also like to see is the fact that town be responsible for all buildings in the town. School committee can deal with policy. The town controls the checkbook, they should be in control of the fiscal situations of the school department. Whether it be by state law or some sort of charter change, it's entirely up to you. Just like to thank you for your time.
Thank you. Doesn't appear to be anybody else in the room who would be speaking. So at this time, I would entertain a motion to close the public hearing. Moved by Councilor Dees, or second? Second by Councilor Yazbek. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, ask for a roll call vote.
Yes.
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 Yes, motion carries. What I propose to do is we go through each of these proposals in the order in which we have them, and if there are any further amendments that people would like to propose, that we do that, and if not, that we take a vote as to whether to put that before the voters in November. So beginning with, unless anybody has any additions or any other suggestions for process. Okay, so we'll begin with Article 2, Elections, the recall provision. This doesn't appear to have generated any proposed amendments since we started talking about it. Are there any amendments to entertain at this time? So hearing none, I would entertain a motion to adopt or to put this proposed amendment before the voters in November. Moved by Councilor Yazbek. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Councilors McGee and Zulinski. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, I'd ask for a roll call vote.
Yes.
Mr. McGee?
Yes.
Mr. Yazbek?
Yes.
Mr. Woodruff?
Yes.
Mr. Flaherty?
Yes. Motion carries 4-0. Moving on to